What is everybody? It's your boy, Isaac of the Dead. We are doing another Resurrected Retros, and right now we are going to be covering the 2008 hit Iron Man. And what better to start off my Marvel crusade on the way to Doomsday with the movie that started the MCU, Iron Man, with Jon Favreau as the director, Robert Downey Jr. starring as the titular character, as well as Gwyneth Paltrow and Jeff Bridges and Terrence Howard. I will say this video will have spoilers for the spoiler-free review. Just to say here, I mean, if you haven't seen Iron Man and you're watching this video, I don't know what to tell you. The movie's been out for 18 years. Go see it. Go see Iron Man. It's on Disney Plus. You can find it on FX. You can find it just about anywhere. Iron Man is worth the watch. It is one of the greatest superhero movies ever made, in my opinion. But for the non-spoiler people who have not seen Iron Man, go watch it. You don't need me to tell you that. If you want to get into the MCU, Iron Man's the place to start. Now, on to the spoilers, because, I have to give that spoiler warning for people who have not seen it, because believe it or not, there are people out there who have not seen this movie. But I'm going to give a sort of comprehensive breakdown on the plot and the characters and all that. So the movie is more than just a origin story of Iron Man. Now, certainly it is the origin story of Iron Man. We get to see how he creates the suit, creates the arc reactor, but it's more than that. It is a character study of Tony Stark himself. And we see from behind the scenes footage and deleted scenes that there is an ongoing theme of redemption, an ongoing theme of doing something more with your legacy, something that Marvel was founded on and built on, the idea of being something more and exceptional than just the average. And that's what Marvel used to represent a long time ago, the above average, the extraordinary. And so the plot follows Tony Stark, a billionaire playboy philanthropist, who at this time was less philanthropist, more warmonger, more weapons developer for Stark Industries. And we see the relationship that he has with the character Obadiah Stane, played by Jeff Bridges. And we see how he starts off, and within the first 30 minutes of the movie, we get an idea of who this character is. We get an idea of who Tony Stark is as a person, as a man. He is a free-loving, go out there and party rich kid, a Nepo baby. Very reflecting of Robert Downey Jr.'s character and his sort of personality in real life. Robert Downey Jr. was the Nepo baby of a Hollywood actor, or I can't remember if he was like a stage actor or something, but his father was an actor, making Robert Downey Jr. a Nepo baby, who in the 90s was a fucking party animal. And I think in the movie's meta sense, Tony Stark's development over the course of the movie reflects that of Robert Downey Jr.'s own life, which is something that makes this movie stand alone and make it special on a different level, not just for the character of Iron Man or Marvel, but for Robert Downey Jr. himself, how it has a personal connection to Robert Downey Jr. And so, as he is attacked by this organization called the Ten Rings, which is a multicultural organization. They speak multiple languages, but we all know that it's supposed to be the Mandarin who's supposed to be leading this. I was kind of hoping that the 10 rings would represent, 10 different nations or something, but ultimately it was more of like an Al-Qaeda ripoff. I thought it was just funny. The movie was kind of based in the sense that we see them as the bad guys. Yes, based. But the movie goes from Tony Stark being a weapons manufacturer to somebody who realizes the wrongs that his company has done and trying to fix it. So when he is attacked and captured by the Ten Rings, they basically blow a missile comes down and blows a hole in his chest. So now the only way he can survive is with an electromagnet attached to his chest with a car battery. He builds an arc reactor, a miniature arc reactor in the cave to replicate a larger arc reactor back at Stark Industries. And so that is able to extract the shrapnel from his chest, or at least keeping it from killing him slowly, with the help of a sidekick in Yinsen, who is based off of the character Ho Yinsen, or Yen Sin from the comics, which was depicted less stereotypical Chinese Fu Manchu type guy, but I guess they didn't want to do the Fu Manchu character, so they stuck with the Mandarin. Oh wait, no, that was Shang-Chi. Never mind. But Anyway, Tony Stark escapes the cave after building the Iron Man suit, the Mark One Iron Man suit, attacks the Ten Rings terrorists, and then he gets found by Terrence Howard, who plays Rhodey, in arguably better Rhodey, Colonel James Rhodes, than Don Cheadle ever was. That's my opinion. I just believe that. Now, Terrence Howard's a bit of a nut job these days, but nonetheless, he was a perfect casting for Colonel Rhodes, and they should have kept him. They should have kept him a long time ago. It's a shame that they got rid of him, but from the casting to the acting, everything is solid. This movie's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of fun, and there's a lot of truth in what they say. And there's, it's something universal about this movie that everybody can get along with. And mostly, the movie is just great. It's just a good movie. And how do I explain this? This movie's awesome. This movie's got great music. It's one of those cool movies, like the scene where Tony Stark is in the cave building the Iron Man suit from scratch with the music building up as he's hitting it with the hammer. Like, something about that just creates a masculine urge in the young kid's head and a young boy's head to go out there and build something in his dad's garage. I had that when I first saw the movie in 2008. Whenever I was a little kid, I was only 10 years old when this movie came out, and I went and I saw it in theaters, and I was just like, I want to go into the garage and build some shit. That masculine urge, it just gets you into the business. It just, it's so good. So Tony comes home and he realizes, okay, my weapons have been used by the Ten Rings. And so now I don't want my weapons to be used to harm innocent people, because the Ten Rings are using my weapons and my missiles and my rockets to attack villagers, to attack innocent people. And he sees them on the news. So whenever he ultimately creates the Iron Man suit, he goes out and stops the terrorists. And now Obadiah Stane, we find out that Obadiah Stane he ordered the hit on Tony using the Ten Rings to get rid of him. Now, this led to some speculation amongst myself and my dad and other people who have seen this movie who are friends of mine, that Obadiah Stane was the one that killed Howard Stark because of his relationship with Howard Stark. We find out later, canonically, in Captain America Civil War, that is not the case. However, the insinuation that Obadiah Stane was constantly trying to get Tony Stark killed to basically usurp his power, made it believe that it was more like a Hamlet-style story where Obadiah Stane was Hamlet's uncle. I can't remember his name. I think Claudio. I think that Claudio is his name. But anyway, Obadiah Stane becomes the warmonger trying to usurp, or the Ironmonger trying to usurp Tony Stark's empire while using his technology. And he has this great line at the end of the movie where Obadiah Stane says, "How ironic, Tony. You set out to stop people from, you wanted to end weapons development, but you ended up creating the greatest weapon of all, which was the Iron Man suit." And so we see throughout the movie, as Tony starts to progress, he learns from his mistakes. When he goes into space, his suit gets iced out because of the atmosphere. And so he fixes his mistakes. There are so many great moments of character development throughout the course of this movie. The consistency, the pacing, it's all fantastic. And so we see when there's a battle between Ironmonger and Iron Man, when they go up into space, Ironmonger didn't have the icing technology to keep his suit from turning into ice. So Iron Man's like, "What'd you do about the icing problem?" So there was a nice payoff there to the setup. Now, there are some problems, I think, with this movie, even as great as Iron Man is. Watching it for the 110th time or whatever, however many times I've seen this movie, I started to notice certain things that were not as great this time around. For example, Agent Coulson shows up throughout the movie to tease that this is a part of a grander universe, that S.H.I.E.L.D. is involved in this movie. And we do see that S.H.I.E.L.D. is involved in this movie through the character of Coulson, as he wants to debrief brief or debrief whatever happened in Afghanistan with Tony Stark to kind of understand the Iron Man situation. They kind of breeze over that by the end of the movie, and we never really get to see what that briefing or debriefing looks like, and that felt kind of rushed, in my opinion. And so there's certain things that were cut out and left out from, if you watch the behind-the-scenes footage and the deleted scenes, there was a lot of stuff that was cut out and left out that maybe could have changed this movie in a different way. And certainly Jon Favreau, as the director, saw this, and he was like, this movie's either going to be a really big movie or it's going to be a fucking flop. Either way, we had fun making it. And honestly, I would have fun making it too. There's a lot of Star Wars references because Jon Favreau was doing this at Skywalker Ranch, and he's a huge fan of Star Wars. So is Kevin Feige. They're more Star Wars fans than they ever were Marvel fans. Um, from the screen wipes to the scene where Jensen is scaring away the Ten Rings with a machine gun, and then he runs down the hallway and sees more Ten Rings people in front of him. It's a call back to A New Hope where Han Solo was chasing the stormtroopers. And so there's different sound effects that would come from Skywalker Ranch to and obviously Star Wars sound effects. And so this movie is more as it's grown with time. There's also the CGI that's aged. It's aged definitely since 2008, but it still looks good. The themes of this movie of redemption, of legacy, of doing something more, doing something exceptional, has been sort of dumbed down over time, and Marvel has lost that ability to tell a story about somebody doing something heroic, something exceptional, and doing something with your legacy, and how it's deeply connected to Robert Downey Jr. as a person and his story. There was something just special about this movie and how it launched the MCU into making Iron Man, who was a character that nobody really knew or cared about, into the household name that he is now. When people think about their Mount Rushmore of Marvel characters, Iron Man's on top of it now. And so what used to be just Spider-Man, Hulk, X-Men, Fantastic Four, now Iron Man's a part of the conversation because of this movie, because of the MCU appealing to the normies. And so, upon a retrospective review of rewatching this movie, as for a millionth time, I could say that there are some flaws in this movie. It's not the perfect movie, but it's damn near close. It's really good. It's such a good movie that you don't really even need to watch this video to even want to see this movie. You should see it anyway. It's just a really good movie. Not to mention the storyline, the plot is actually very well written. It's well told, where it's not just the story of Tony Stark evolving as a character throughout the movie. It's an origin story of Iron Man, yes, but it's Tony Stark going from the warmongering capitalist into a peaceful superhero who wants to do right by the wrongings that his company has done, while making up for it and trying to protect the world in a way that he thought he was prior to the origin accident where he had the arc reactor in his chest. Meanwhile, there is a conspiracy against him within Stark Enterprises, a story of him trying to do the right thing as Iron Man, as this vigilante character, under the guise of Iron Man, without Stark Industries finding out about it. And Obadiah Stane trying to sabotage him, trying to use Stark Industries and the power at Stark Industries to sabotage Tony and sabotage Iron Man, ultimately leading to a clash between the two, not just ideologically, but physically at the end of the movie. There's a lot of deeper things when it comes to the writing of this movie that just make it something special. Yet, I didn't realize a lot of how good the writing was until I turn on the captions and listen to the dialogue. The dialogue is fucking great in this movie. The acting is great. The casting was great. Editing was great. Everything was just about as good as it can get as for a superhero film. Sure, there were some plot points and things that were overlooked or rushed or felt kind of contrived. Things like, Leslie Bibb's character, the blonde chick that was constantly nagging on Tony Stark, feels like she only shows up whenever the plot needs her to, kind of thing. But overall, this movie is way more complex and way more smart than it initially came off to be when it first came out. And it sparked a new age for Marvel superhero movies and for superhero movies in general, sparking the MCU. And the fact that we have comparisons to Robert Downey Jr.'s performances as, Iron Man, to things like Howard Hughes and Elon Musk, there's a lot of truth to those comparisons, and you can disagree however you want, but that is a matter of fact between Elon Musk and Howard Hughes about how this character has been portrayed and how he was created, essentially. And so there was because Howard Hughes definitely inspired Tony Stark for sure, as a comic book character. Elon Musk, being the autistic genius that he is, there's a lot of that in Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of the character in the movie. And Tony Stark's definitely got some OCD or autism or something, because ain't no way somebody acts like that and is a super genius. You know what I mean? They got to have some sort of like autism or something. But that's what makes the character relatable. That's why there's like this cool factor, this masculine cool factor that, from the heavy metal music to the special effects, the idea of crusading to do something that's good and right for the world, all of it just blends together to make something just great, and what superhero movies should aspire to be and what superhero movies should be like. Not this intersectional garbage deconstructing crap that we get now. Iron Man from 2008, the movie that sparked the MCU, is also the spark of my Marvel movie crusade through up till Doomsday. I really enjoy this movie. I could watch this movie 100 million times over and never get tired of it. It is so fucking good. But let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all in another video very soon. Iron Man Resurrected Retros. Let's go.